This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I am talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope that you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is a girl after my own heart. She's doing what I've wanted to do for a long time. So Kathryn Garland, she is about to start her own podcast called Homespun Podcast, which I'm really excited about. She also lives in British Columbia, which is on my very short list of 2 places that I want to visit. And she just started homesteading. So I'm thrilled to be able to, follow her beginning adventures and kind of learn what the beginning stages are like. And she has some really great messages that I'm thrilled to be able to let her share. So I'm going to get to this. I hope that you really enjoy it. She's so fun and so real. And so anyway, if you love this podcast, please feel free to share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it. Feel free to rate and review. Never going to argue with that. It just helps to get the podcast in front of new listeners, and that certainly can't hurt. If you don't love the podcast, please let me know, because I want to provide value to you. And if I'm not, I want to make sure I can't change what I don't know. So, but I appreciate you listening, and I hope that you enjoy this. Please make sure to check out the show notes for any links and any information, ways to reach Kathryn or check her out, and any other podcast episodes, of course, anything that you might have missed. I was told by somebody that they didn't know that I had show notes. So any one of the past guests that you were interested in and you didn't know I had show notes, please go check out the show notes, because there are some really, really, really amazing people that I would hate for you to miss out on. So anyway, here is Kathryn Garland. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you have a great day.
My guest today is Kathryn Garland. Kathryn is a homesteader, and she's in British Columbia, and she's a newer homesteader. So we're going to learn how the homesteading journey startup part comes out. So Kathryn, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. I can feel it.
Oh my gosh, yes. And Kathryn is working on starting up a podcast about homesteading, which is very exciting. It's going to be coming out next month.
Yay.
Called the Homespun Podcast. I was just telling her,
Yes.
I'm like, I was looking for your podcast and I couldn't find it. She's like, yeah, it's not out yet. I'm like, oh,
Nope.
that's why I can't find it. But so you're in British Columbia, which is one of my favorite places that I am planning to visit someday. It has been on my bucket list for the longest time.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, life is too short, so it's on my list. I have a list of 2 places, and that's one of them. So So it's going to happen. So anyway, so you have 4 kids, you said, and you are
Yep.
married, and you've been
Yeah.
homesteading, like legit homesteading for like 3 years, 4 years?
Like a year and a half.
Oh, a year and a half. Okay.
I guess we're over a year and 3/4. Let's say a year and 3/4.
Okay. And you've been but you've been wanting to do it for a long, long time.
Yeah, like I feel like I was meant to be Laura Ingalls.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean we all kind of did, didn't we? I feel like we all kind of did. Like
yeah.
when we were kids, we loved to wear those, like a lot of us like to wear the flowy dresses and be like, I'm Laura Ingalls or whatever. And
Yeah.
I know I did when I was younger. And then life comes up. But
Yeah, inertia takes over.
oh boy, does it ever. But anyway, so you've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and you said your husband was kind of dragging his feet.
He wasn't feeling it. I mean, we're both city. Like we both were born and raised city. He lived in a small town, so he had exposure to stuff a little bit more than I did. Like his childhood home backed onto a cornfield. My childhood home backed onto homes, so like he had a little bit more exposure, but we both were city. We didn't grow up in this environment, and he just wasn't ready to leave the city. Just wasn't interested for a long, long time.
Okay.
I was.
Okay. Were you both in the city in British Columbia?
No, we're from Ontario, so we both were in the city there. Yeah.
Okay. How did you end up in British Columbia?
I wanted to get out of the city for a long time. I really wanted to get out of the city, and he just wasn't into it, like I said. And I just kind of kept pushing it. And then I was like, listen, we can't afford land here because where we were living, it was just too expensive to get land. So I was like, let's move out east. Let's go to like Nova Scotia. And he went, no, let's not go to Nova Scotia. He's like, Nova Scotia is beautiful and all, but like, I don't want to live there. What are we going to do there? And so that was like, it was about 2 years of me being like, let's move to Nova Scotia. And him saying, no, before finally he said, listen, okay, if we're going to leave, I need mountains. And I said, mountains are great. Let's go to the mountains. So his sister was actually, he has 2 sisters out here, but one of them was just like, if I ever buy a house, I'm going to buy it in this particular valley. And we went, good enough endorsement for us. Let's go there. So here we are. We are in that valley.
Is his sister as well?
She is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got family there too. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have one of his sisters is about an hour away from us, and his other sister is like 4 hours. So not exactly a day trip, but still close. Closer than Ontario.
Valid. Okay. Yeah. And so you have animals on your farm? What do you have for animals?
We have chickens and Muscovy ducks, which the running joke now is we were researching them. We've had them for a while, but we were researching them the other day, and they said they're not actually duck, they're perching waterfowl. And so we have chickens and perching waterfowl. I know, right?
That you have to say like you're British?
I guess so. I don't know who calls it. They're not ducks anymore, apparently. They're called Muscovy ducks, but I don't know. They're delicious and they're cute, so I'm happy. And we have goats, and we do meat birds through the summer months, so we're almost out of meat bird season. And we have pigs, and we have cattle, and I feel like and rabbits. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. Rabbits.
In just a year and a half, you've got all those animals.
I have one speed, full speed ahead. Like that's how I roll.
He said yes.
Let's do it. Well, we moved here, and actually there was a hot tub here, and we didn't know the hot tub came with the place. It was a portable hot tub. So we just assumed that the sellers were taking it with them, and we got here and it was here. So we thought, oh, is it broken? So we checked it and it worked. So I said, okay, you get one winter with I don't like hot tubs. Like I'm not a hot tub person. So I said, you get one winter with the hot tub. We probably, with the house, came with enough chemicals for about one winter. I don't really like the chemicals that go along with it either. So I'm never buying more. When they're done, it's done. So the chemicals ran out, and I said, okay, I'm selling the hot tub to buy cows. And he said, I don't think that's going to happen. I went, okay, but I'm selling the hot tub to buy cows. So I sold the hot tub and I bought 4 cows. 2 of them were pregnant. I have 1 speed.
You bought 2 pregnant cows?
And I bought 2 pregnant cows and their yearlings. So it was 4 that arrived, and about a month later we had 6. Yeah.
Woo! Oh, they were very pregnant too.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Like we got a call from the farm where we were getting them from. They were supposed to come. I can't remember the exact dates, like the end of April and early April. They called and they said, this is how green we were. They said, we need to move the date up. The one cow is bagging up. And we literally went, what is bagging up? Do you know what bagging up is?
Apparently it means they're about to have babies.
It's when they start to, like, the udders start to fill with milk. So it's a sign that, calving is imminent. And when I was like, I don't even know what the term bagging up means. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I getting into cows? But we figure everything out as we go. So they came when we were like barely ready. They were like, can we deliver them in 2 days? And my husband went, no, the barn's not ready yet. We thought we had a month. And so he quickly called, phoned to many friends, and we finished the barn and they arrived. And they didn't even calve for like 3 more weeks. So it was like they calved after the original day they were supposed to come anyway. It's okay though. We got ready.
But you were ready.
Got ready. Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. That's all that matters. We did it.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. 6 cows. That's a lot of cows.
Yeah, we actually have, so like some of them have gone to the butcher since then, and what have you, right? And then we actually switched over. And we got in, those were Dexters, which are supposed to be they are a dual purpose breed, so meat and milk, like they're good for both. But the mamas that we had, I don't know their story. The farm where we got them from wasn't their first home, so I'm thinking there was like something happened early on because they weren't friendly, and we had a really hard time training the one who supposedly was a milker to milk, to the point that we were like, this is too stressful for her. We're not going to try anymore. She's just gonna be the mama. And then we thought about breeding her and decided against breeding her and decided to switch over and get into Jersey cows for milk, because then you can breed the Jersey with a better meat cow, and you can eat the offspring. And so then we still have the 2 Dexters, and now we have 4 mamas in milk and then 1 of their calves here now.
What do you do with all that milk? Holy cow.
We do distribute it to the community.
Okay.
We have some members who, and then the pigs drink some of it, and we do a lot with it because we like it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, are you like making cheese and
yogurt and butter and ice cream and?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's so much. My gosh, that's so much milk.
It is so much. When they say you're married to your milk cow, it's for a reason, and we have 4 that we're married to. So,
wow! And so you have to milk all of them. You have 4 that you're milking.
Yeah, 4 in milk. Yeah.
That you have to milk twice a day.
We milk once a day. So the farmer where we got them from, he had done a bunch of research and he had come to the conclusion that to milk them once a day yielded approximately the same amount, and it was less stress on the cow, he said, and then it was just like it's easier for the farmer. And we trusted his word, especially because like that's what they're used to. They don't want, because that's what they've been trained to do. They don't even want to milk again at night, so we milk them in the morning, and then they're happy. They don't want to come back in again for the evening milk, so we're not interested in training them to do that because A, we don't need more milk, and B, it frees up a little bit more time.
Yeah, there's plenty to do in the evening without having to milk again, right?
Yeah, and I mean, start to finish, to milk 4 girls and then, clean all the equipment and all that stuff, it's still a good 2 hours. So I don't need to spend 4 hours doing that a day if I can only do 2.
Yeah, for sure. And what are you doing with the goats? Are the goats for?
The goats were originally our dairy animal. So we have Nigerian dwarf goats, which is they're the highest milk fat of the goat family, as far as I know. And we got them because I really wanted their milk for cheese. But then when we got the Jerseys, we're not milking the goats because it's just like
Too much.
it would be more than we need and more time than we're interested in spending. So right now the goats are like a petting zoo. Like we feel like we need to rehome them because they're not living up to their fullest potential. We just feel like it's time for them to move on. We really like them, and it's bittersweet to already say goodbye to them, but it just we got them for a purpose and they're not living up to it, so it doesn't seem fair to them either.
Yeah, I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I volunteer at a farm. I was telling you that. So I volunteer at a farm. I'm a gardener, and they have 6 goats, and they're really just pets.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of goats they are. They're very cute. They all have names. And they've
All
been
of our
there for
animals have
like
names.
6 years. They all have names. Yay!
Like our kids even name, I bet like half of our chickens and ducks. We probably have like 120 ducks at this point. Half of them have names. I don't even know how they can tell them apart. I can't tell them apart.
The kids can.
They don't name the meat birds though.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that would be too hard.
I don't know how you name them all. Like we do hundreds. So like how could you name them all anyway? I can't come up with that many names.
Sally 3. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That would be the only. I have not done meat birds before, but the only good thing about meat birds would that be the only way that I would be able to do the meat birds is that I wouldn't know them very well because it's not that long. But
That's true.
oh my gosh, my chickens all have such personalities. There's no way that they couldn't have names. And we only have 10. It's not like we have hundreds.
Right.
Yeah. But so you and your chickens are you have egg laying chickens and you have meat chickens.
We do, yeah. So and we have, I don't even know how many layers we have right now. Probably 30-ish, 20, 30. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a lot of eggs.
Like no, because we have barred rocks, so they don't lay as many. They only do about, I want to say 250 a year, which
each
isn't but divided by 365 days, like that's not nowhere near an egg a day. And our other flock is they're just getting old. I call them our geriatric flock. They're still producing, but they're not producing like they were. So it sounds like more eggs than it is. We're actually going to replenish our flock in the spring because we're just not getting the eggs we were and we want. So
yeah, I hear that. Yeah. We are getting we have 10 chickens. I said we have 3 roosters. We are getting 0 eggs. We're on week 3, I think.
Of 0 eggs. What are they doing? What's going on, girls?
I don't know. We got some serious molting.
Right. I've been considering, like, I do like our chickens, but I love our ducks, and I've been considering, we have Muscovy perching waterfowl, and so they don't lay nearly as many. I think there's something like 90 eggs a year or something like that each. So it's not a ton of eggs, and they really only lay for the season when they want to hatch babies. Like they start March, April, and they're done by now.
Oh.
Like they're just that's all they do. They're excellent mothers though. Like we only had, I think we had about 20 hens in like the spring, and we have probably 120 ducks around the property now. Like they're excellent mothers. They're fantastic. But we don't get a ton of eggs from them. But I like ducks better than chickens. I know everyone always starts with chickens, and I know that everyone likes eggs. I know that that's why everyone starts with chickens, and I guess we're just the most used to chicken eggs. But I love ducks, and I've been thinking about getting something that lays more, like a runner duck or something that lays more eggs a year to keep us in eggs, because like they don't wreck my garden. I'm not a gardener, as I told you. It's not my thing. Animals yell loudly if you forget to tend to them. Plants just die. And I planted a garden this year, and I did starts, and I had, it was cabbages and lettuce, and what did I put in there? Peas and corn and beans, and I did the research on like companion planting, and like I did all the things right, and it was so much work. I came in from planting it, I washed my hands, and my kids yelled, "Mom, the chickens!" Somehow they had all gotten past the fence around it, and by the time I got out there, they had destroyed basically the entire thing. And
oh, that's it.
I'm not replanting it, and I didn't replant anything. That garden grew pig's weed this year, And ducks don't do that. Like they don't do it. They don't scratch the same way. Like, yeah, they'll eat the plants. They will eat the plants if you let them in when they're like tender and young. But they mostly, when we had slugs last year and I literally threw the ducks in there and they took care of it. Like they didn't wreck anything. Just took care of it. And they still give me eggs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Our neighbors have they have like 60 chickens, and they used to have a bunch of ducks, and they got rid of the ducks because the ducks are just really messy.
They're super messy. Oh, no question. They're super, super messy. They are, in that regard, they're a lot of work. But my ducks refuse to go in the chicken coop. They used to go in the chicken coop. We have 2 chicken coops. One of them used to be a duck/chicken coop. And now it's practically not used by anybody. The chickens have kind of moved into the other coop and the ducks have moved out. And they won't go in. So my coop cleanup isn't actually extra. It's not much.
Oh.
And I mean, yes, it's kind of gross, like, because ours truly free roam. They're everywhere all the time, with the exception of this one fenced in part where the fruit trees are. We only let them in sometimes when we want them in there. You know, I don't recommend walking barefoot if you're squeamish around my yard, but it's trade-offs. And they make their poop is better fertilizer, they say. I haven't done enough research to confirm that with like conviction, but I'm told that duck poo is a better fertilizer than chicken poo.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Wow. And do you not have a problem with critters with the ducks?
No, we have 3 dogs. 2 of them are outside dogs, and we have cows. I literally watched the Dexters. They would kick things. They would just like they'd walk around and kick things. We used to have deer that would walk through, and deer are harmless. Like I guess the Dexters maybe got offended because the deer were eating their grass, but they would chase the deer off, and the deer stopped coming. Like, we have had, knock on wood, we've had no significant predator issues since we got the cows and the outside dogs. Like we had a house dog when we moved here, but it was when we got the outside dogs that, you know, like people around us, our backyard neighbors, they're pretty far away, but people in our backyard to each side of us, they see bears, they'll see like the coyotes. Nothing.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Maybe we need a cow. I'm going to tell my husband we need to get a cow. I mean, I've been saying it. I want a baby. I want a little mini cow.
Oh, they're sweet.
But the predators probably won't be scared of that. But
you might need something bigger. Get a donkey. Apparently donkeys are excellent at keeping predators away. I would love to. Once my daughter found out that the females are called Jennies, she's like, we need a Jenny. We need a Jenny because it's called a Jenny.
I would not hate a Jenny.
Right?
You need a Jenny house first.
No, I mean, baby steps.
Right?
That's how we did everything. It was me saying, oh, by the way, I'm getting pigs on this date. And my husband went, we don't have, I was like, yeah, but we have that fenced in area and it's got a gate into the main pasture. Like, it's fine. He's like, but there's no shelter. I was like, it's fine.
You have him so figured out.
He wasn't happy with me. Like, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like he went, oh, okay, yeah, sure, great. He wasn't thrilled, but he wasn't upset enough for me to tell me I had to like cancel the pigs. So.
My gosh. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Oh man.
Yeah.
They're coming, but there's no place for them to sleep.
Well, and I had to have kuni pigs. Have you heard of kuni pigs?
I have.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what they are, they're like they're from New Zealand, but apparently they're not native to New Zealand, and nobody knows where they're actually from. And they're this heritage breed that they look like mythical creatures, and they're hilarious, and they're ridiculously friendly. They roll over like a dog and want a belly rub. Like, they're amazing. I love them, and I had to have them, and that was part of the reason, because I had been looking, and he was like, "How long is it going to take you to find kunis?" Because they're also really expensive, and he knew I wouldn't get them from like a proper breeder just because I wouldn't pay the price. Not that they're not worth it. It's just like, this is how my brain works.
Sure.
And so I did find registered ones though from someone else who just needed to rehome their pigs, and he didn't think I would find them that fast.
He underestimated you.
I have 1 speed. I mean, you think he'd know this by now.
We have an 11-year-old.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of the 11-year-old, he wanted the pigs more than I did, so we can blame him for this as well.
Yeah. Don't talk to me.
He wanted pigs. I had to find them for him.
Yes. Don't deprive your kids. They're only kids for so long.
That's why we're here. We're here to like feed ourselves and give them this different, rich life than what we had, so we need pigs.
Yes. And the nicest possible pigs.
Honestly, they're amazing. Well, actually, this year, our boar, I don't know, like he was in a separate like area, clearing it out with some of the younger pigs and just living the dream. And he kept getting his tusks stuck in the fence. And
Uh-oh. Did he rip it up?
No.
Oh.
But he was like laying with his tusks up and he got stuck. And he did this a couple of times and we always freed him, but I guess we didn't notice this one time. And he like flung his entire body weight into getting up and he didn't make it.
Oh.
Yeah. I was not I was like, I loved him. He looked like a true mythical creature. He was so handsome. He was like, I loved him. So I was really, really sad for about a day. And then I got really mad at how dumb he was to do that. But yeah. We actually, the first time we had like a big loss, like, you lose chicks here, you lose, like, things happen. We had a rabbit that had a litter and a couple of them didn't make it before they were even out of the nest. It was when we were cleaning the nest out when they finally moved out of the nest that we found some. And I mean, like, loss happens, it's going to happen. But when you lose a big animal, it just hits so much harder. And like the first calf we lost, we were calling different farmers who have done cows, and we were just like, what do we do? Like, do we call it that? Like, what do we do? And this one farmer we called, he farms, and I don't know how old he is. He's retired, and he was raised on a farm. So like his entire life, like let's assume he's in his 60s. For 60 odd years, he's been farming.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like point blank, he was like, you need hardware, you got livestock, you got dead stock. And we went, like,
what?
No, but like, what can we do? And he was like, you could lay with him, but he's going to die anyway. You could go to the hardware store and get like this special magnet thing that might like find whatever he's eaten and get it out of him, but he's going to die anyway. And we were just like, oh my goodness, like, we can't. Okay. we just have to accept it and go. All right. But he was a baby, like, I think he was maybe 8 weeks old. And it was, yeah. But that stuck with me. You got livestock, you got dead stock.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a hard lesson. That's a hard lesson.
But it was a really good lesson, especially for the kids. They saw us try, and they just saw, like, that's life, unfortunately. Sometimes, like, you can't win them all.
Right.
It's hard. It's sad. They cried. I cried. But
yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And there's so many to look after, and there's only so many people and so many hours in the day and so much that is just unknown.
You can't be with them all the time. Like, if they're going to do something foolish,
yeah.
How do you stop a boar from getting his tusks stuck in a fence? Well, you can't. Like, short of not having a fence and him leaving anyway, like, right. You can't.
Right. Sure.
Sorry. Wasn't quite the late mood there.
Yeah. I mean, well, good for the kids. That is a good lesson for the kids. I mean, that's a good lesson for everyone. It's definitely something to be mindful of if you're thinking about getting into homesteading or farming in general and getting animals, because it's part of life.
And it really is part of it. Like, I remember feeling this heavy sense of responsibility when that calf was dying. Like, because we had no idea. Like, it was like we put him to bed the one night and he was running around playing, and he came in and he ate and and he went to bed and he cuddled up and he seemed fine. And in the morning he was like not fine. Like it was just like not okay. And who's checking on their animals in the middle of the night, right? But he would have already eaten whatever he had eaten. He ate a bolt, a tractor bolt that would have fallen off our neighbor's tractor because we didn't have a tractor at the time. So it wasn't even like, it was just this whole thing, but we felt so responsible and so upset. And it was really that conversation with that farmer. He's just like, I have had cows break through fence to eat things off the side of a driveway. Like, he's like, you can't babysit them. It's hard, but like, and nobody talks about that. That's one of those things. It's like, nobody talks about just how much loss is going to happen, right? Like it just is.
It's true. Yeah. It's not something that people talk about.
It's not, because it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of talk about, gardening and weather and stuff like that. And, and how much work it is, but not like the loss. The loss is not something that's talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Whew. But so that's that it's a good lesson for sure. I mean, it's it's for sure. I mean, when I got chickens, it was not something that I was thinking about, and it's the hardest thing about chickens for sure. I mean,
and there's no way to avoid it. If you have animals, it's like if you're gardening and you plant 20 strawberry plants and 15 survive, you don't think much of it because it's, well, at least I got 15. But it's so different when it's an animal.
Right. Yeah. Oh boy. Yes. And so do you do like the canning and all that stuff too? You do?
Yeah, we do. Oh, sorry. We do. I can, I'm also a rookie canner.
Yeah.
I'm new to that scene as well. I have a very good friend who I practically have on speed dial during canning season. Help. What do I do? This happened. And, but I like to fill the fruit cellar. I always liked it, but like when we lived in the city, I would, maybe I'd make relish this year and I'd be like, woo, can something. Right. But since we've been here, I'm just like, well, I really feel like I should embrace this and do it all. And so, I couldn't even tell you what we canned this year, but like everything from peaches to plum sauce to pickled beets. Like we obviously, as I said, I'm not a gardener, so I source the produce from other local farms who do that, and I just put it up for the winter, and it's really fun to. I even have noticed I've caught the kids going downstairs and looking in the cold cellar and be like, I think you did more this year than last year, Mom. And just, ooh, did you see how many zucchini relishes she made this year? And it's just fun.
Oh, that's nice that they're supportive of that.
Yeah. And like good. Beans this year, when we did beans this year, I was like, I just got tired of like breaking the tops off of them. And so I was like, listen, we've got like 50 pounds of beans to get through. We're having a bean party tonight. Anyone who's staying up, you're either going to bed at this time or you're staying up and doing beans. And so the younger she went to bed and the older she was like, yeah, we'll stay up late if we can do this. We'll do beans if it means we can stay up late. Sure. Can we listen to music while we do it? Like, so we had a bean party.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Because I mean, it's something that I talk about a lot on the podcast, like, and in general, like, there's so many things that you can do by yourself, but it's just no fun. It's so time consuming. Like, oh my gosh, canning tomatoes. Whoa. So time consuming. So if you just have a friend or someone to help you out with it, it might even still take the same amount of time. It just doesn't feel like the same amount of time.
There's just someone to talk to. Like the last time I made a big batch of butter, a friend of mine, I was like, do you want to just come and do butter with me? And she's like, I've never made butter. Let's do that. And I think it actually took longer because we got a little giggly and we just like chatted. And I think it took longer, but it didn't felt shorter.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's this, this podcast started because I actually wanted to be a homesteader, and I still sort of want to be a homesteader, but like I was looking into that, and I looked at these homesteading Facebook pages, and they're like, a lot of them are very, very exclusive. And like, if you have a cell phone, you're not a real homesteader. Or if you're on grid, you're not a real homesteader, and blah blah blah. And like talking down to other people. Like I think I had said something about like I wanted to make my own laundry soap, and I tried the like there's one that was like a Fels naphtha bar and washing soda and borax and water or something like that, and it just smelled so strong to me. And I was like, I want something that's not so strong. And somebody was like, just go wash it at the river. Like, I was like, that's really rude. But I get bad vibes from a lot of the Facebook people. So I was kind of turned off by that. But I think that in general, I think a lot of homesteading things are the idea of homesteading is very cool. I think the idea of being self-sufficient, I think it's a cool idea, but I think that being so independent is dangerous. And I think it's really lonely. I think that, you know, having friends and having people to help or to team up with is better and more fun. You know what I'm saying?
I think that a lot of people look at homesteading as like a throwback to being Laura Ingalls, as I said. And I think we really do forget that they did nearly nothing alone, right? Like they had community barn raisings. I'm sure, like I don't know. I wasn't there. It's not in the books, but I am certain, like with every fiber of my being, I believe that, they made butter en masse once a month, or they went to Susan's house to can tomatoes on Tuesday, and then Debbie's house on Wednesday, and you know what I mean? I'm sure that they did.
Yeah. Or even just as a family, like a whole family thing. So everyone is doing something together.
And so that's kind of like that's what my podcast is about, actually. Is like the like just the doing life from home and being like making home your focus, and not necessarily homesteading just exclusively, but like bringing home back into focus and doing it together, doing life as a unit and making home feel fulfilling, right? Rather than just the place where you sleep, but being fulfilled in your home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yes. But yeah, I just think that like your green bean story, like having the kids help, that's going to be a fun memory for them. Hopefully, we got to stay up late, and sure, we had to snap green beans, but we got to stay up late and listen to music, and we were like older people.
And they're so proud of the beans. Like we haven't gone into the beans yet. They're still waiting for winter. And but like they've talked about how they can't wait for the first time. And do I know which can they did? And I have no idea, but we'll pretend, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. Do you think I did this one? It's possible. Yeah, let's eat that one.
You should write on the top of it. You should just write on the top of it. This one was theirs.
Yeah. So.
Oh, look, this is the one that you did. See that bean? I recognize that one. I think that's cool. And the fact that they're going to be so proud of it, and just they're going to be like that. These are the best beans, mm-hmm. And they're gonna love beans.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Good for you.
Yeah,
those are good lessons too. Good lessons.
Yeah.
But so you had speaking of lessons, one of the things that you had mentioned in your form is that how homesteading is doable to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Like for anyone, you mean?
In all situations. Sorry.
Yeah.
You just scale it to your life.
Absolutely, because I mean, not everybody is one speed like me, and not everybody should be one speed like me, because it's been a lot. But I mean, even if you live in an apartment, like there's nothing stopping you from having an herb garden. Like you can do, a lot of cities will let you have even just 5 chickens. Right. I know I said I like ducks better, but if your city lets you have chickens, and you can have your 3 to 5 eggs a day, right? Like it's it doesn't have to be completely off grid and 100% self-sufficient. Even if all you do is source your produce from a local farmer who lives outside your town, and you can to put that up, like that's still you providing for yourself, and creating some sustainability through the winter. So maybe if there's a snowstorm, you don't have to I don't want to go drive to the store, it's still icy, I'm just going to grab the canned soup I made from the turkey I bought over there. Like there's bits and pieces that you can do to suit your life, right?
Heck yeah, absolutely. That's my message. I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's so true, because that's really how I started out. Like I was living in an apartment, and I was canning jams and salsas and stuff like that. And then we started gardening. I started gardening because I wasn't making a ton of money. And I figured that if I was growing food and then putting food up, it was almost the same as making, it was saving money, which is almost like making money.
Totally.
So,
100%.
and then it just kind of became a thing. And now I'm too busy to really put a lot of effort into my garden. But I would do it if I could grow it.
Just need someone else to come weed it and plant, That's how I feel. I don't know why I hate weeding. I hate it.
Accepting volunteers.
There you go.
For my garden. But yes. But I love that idea. And I love just the way that you said that homesteading is doable to some degree in any situation. You just have to scale it to your life, just like you said, because it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And that's how I like to look at it. And just like sustainability in general, like you don't have to have solar panels, and you don't have to be off grid or have a huge farm, or spend tons of money. You can be making your own broth, or raising animals, and
even if you just pick like one thing a season, and you're like, okay, this winter I'm gonna only make my broth. I'm not gonna buy any broth. Or like just pick one thing a season that feels doable, so you don't overwhelm yourself. But then you're like, okay, I did this thing, and maybe next year I can do it, or maybe just change it. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. I love that. And then, so you also, let's see, I'm trying to think. There was something else that I wanted to. So let's talk about the podcast. So the podcast, you were saying, is about focusing on home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the ways to bring home back into focus. Like I was saying, I don't think that home isn't just where you happen to go to bed at night. Like home is it's a state of mind as well. It's like a sense of security and safety. Like I know that I always, after even just a long day, like just picturing your bed. Like I want to go home to my bed. I don't want to go to any bed. I want to go to my bed. My bed might not have the most comfortable pillow, but it's my bed, and that's where I want to go. Like having that sense of belonging and safety, and all the ways that can manifest. Like for us, we homeschool, we have the farm, so we do a lot of, like, it's really obvious how much we do life from home. But that was a lot of very intentional steps that got us there, and a lot of other healings and things that had to happen to get us there. Mm-hmm. And just how powerful it can be when you are home focused. You don't have to, not necessarily being a homebody, like you can still go to work, or you can still, but it's just knowing that like home is the safe place, and focusing on cultivating that safe place, and just the magic that can happen in your life when you have that safe place to start from.
Sure thing. Yeah. Does your husband work away from home?
Not currently, no. We are all home all the time.
Wow. Wow.
Everything, like it, and honestly, it's been a couple of years since he was working away from home, and it was my 7-year-old who I was sometime in the summer, a couple of months ago now, where I said something to him, and he was like, "What are you even talking about? Like, Dad doesn't go to work." And I was like, "But no, but he used to, and it wasn't like you weren't that little. He legitimately didn't remember. And to me, that was like a double-edged sword of, I'm sure at some point one of us is going to have to go do something at, like, for the short term or the long term. I should, like, there's going to be a season in which we can't all be home all the time. And how is that going to affect the younger two who, because he's number 3 of 4. So like the younger one, I'm sure remembers even less because she was even younger. And how's that going to affect them? And like, how's that going to rock their world? And I felt this sense of like how beautiful. He has no idea. Like he just thinks this is life. Everyone's home all the time and everyone's available all the time. And like we're here for them. We're here for their needs. And
this is home.
Yeah.
Home is where everyone is all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love I'm so looking forward to November 20th.
Yeah.
when this Homespun podcast drops.
Yeah.
I love that. So, Kathryn, tell me what the word sustainability means to you.
Something that can just, it's like kind of can self-perpetuate to a degree. Maybe it needs a little bit of love and maintenance to do that, but you can keep it going. It doesn't take endless efforts to keep it going, you know? You kind of, the wheel kind of spins us slightly on its own, at least slightly, is kind of what I think of it. And by that, I mean, you know, it's beneficial because it kind of moves on its own, like it's got its own momentum so that the benefits can continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. And so if somebody wants to follow your continued journey of homesteading and follow your podcast, I know we've said it's called the Homespun podcast, but and it comes out November 20th.
Thank you.
Not a day later.
Holding me to it.
Holding you to it. How can somebody find you?
I am on Instagram as homespun.kathryn. And then Homespun Creating Life at Home is the podcast that's going to come to wherever you listen to your podcasts in November. And I do have a Facebook group as well called Homespun. And then you can find me on Facebook.
And you're not Kathryn Garland, you're Kathryn.
I'm Kathryn. I think it's about time I changed that though. But yeah, I'm Kath space Ryn. But yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been so fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I love hearing your journey. I love the real story.
I brought some real in. Yeah.
You definitely did. But so you, so what was the point? I know you said I neglected to ask this. And I know I told you that I was going to ask this, but I know that you always wanted to be a homesteader and your husband did not, but what was the point where he said, yeah, all right, fine.
If I at the risk of misrepresenting him, I think it really was the pandemic. Everything shifted and changed, and I think he just realized that it was kind of like it was an opportunity for us to change. And I had been talking about it for so long. I think he just said, well, worst case is we can abandon it and come home again. But I think that was kind of his thought a little bit.
Oh my gosh, you wore him down. Really, that's what it was. But
I don't know if I wore him down, but like I hope he did it, because he wanted to. But
right. Well, he's not unhappy right now, right?
No, he's not. No, I think he's really. I think I'm just a day or two ago. I said to him, is there any part of you that wishes you were back in the city, back in your old life? And no, I'm good with my girls, referring to the cows.
Just me and the girls.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. But so the pandemic it started almost 4 years ago. So when that started, was that when you guys just started looking for property?
No, we had actually just moved into what was supposed to be our dream home. We bought it before everything happened, and then we moved during all the things. And
Okay.
I
So it's
guess
just
we
as you
had
were
been there
settling in.
for, yeah, it was probably, we had been there for a little under a year when we made the decision to change our lives. And
Okay.
so I guess we've been here. We've been here for just over 2 years, but we didn't get our first animals right away. So mhm.
It was a
Yeah,
couple months.
yeah, just a couple short months. I think we moved in September and got the first chickens in January. And then it was like by June we had everything.
Oh my
Those are
god.
one speed.
No joke. Wow. That's awesome. I can't wait to play this for my husband. And say you are lucky because I could be Kathryn and you would be out of luck. Because
Yeah, you just
he's
have to
like
build pig pen.
he grounds me because I would have so many cats.
Mm.
I would have so many cats. He's like, remember how many vet visits? Remember how expensive? Remember when they
But
get
if you had
sick?
so many cats, you'd have no mice.
Mm, I don't know. We have 2 cats and we have got rats here.
Fair enough.
Anyway, and chickens and stuff. Like I would get a lot of chickens. He keeps me grounded, that's for sure. But I really do want a mini cow. Maybe now I want a Jenny too.
I think you should, and I'll live vicariously through you.
Back at you. All right, very good. So I will. Oh my goodness, this has just been so fun. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a good chat. I liked it. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Just one second. I just want to take a moment and thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I also need to thank Buzzsprout for hosting this podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her amazing music genius, for Becca Coffron and her beautiful artwork. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Please check out the show notes. I'm going to have links posted in there if you would like to follow this guest and learn more about them. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, get there from here, 'cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness, we'll heal the hate with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. when that state of grace has finally found me, will there be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder